Well, I think if we look behind the curtain, we see a number of wizards through the centuries who have created the idea of a secret society, a council of nine, and I think that is a very convenient way of removing personal responsibility and blaming someone else for our problems. I think it's another way of saying that the devil is responsible for our problems. By the same token, historically, of course, from the days of the pharaohs and before, there have always been secret groups of the ruling party that will assassinate those or banish those or do away with those in one means or another from those who oppose the status quo. So right up, the French Revolution, through Nazi Germany, and through various assassination squads, we find out to our embarrassment, operate today. So this tends to give credence to the idea that there's some vast, universal, secret society that will get you if you don't behave or is calling the shots. And this is a very fanciful way of dealing with it. I mean, in James Bond, we have the criminals that meet from all over the world. I mean, in Uncle, we had the United against evil. This idea of fighting evil and having a great evil force that has minions all over is a way then of dealing with the bad things that happen to us. And then they're reinforced by governments and principalities and rulers throughout all of history that have sent their goons, that have sent their thugs to go out and secretly eliminate those who oppose the status quo.
For a number of years, the Vatican has been accused of being in league with various nefarious groups and organizations. A Vatican satanic connection has been a favorite of evangelical and fundamentalist churches, but there has also been accusations of satanic rituals being conducted at the Vatican by so-called whistleblowers who claim to have insider experience with such unsavory incidents. This was a favorite theme in the 19th and earliest 20th century, with a number of books and pamphlets being published accusing the Vatican of unhuman activity and an ultimate goal of world domination. The recent media attention with priests accused of child molestation has created a resurgence of Vatican-themed conspiracy theories, ranging once again to the old accusations of secret satanic worship to connections with the New World Order and the Illuminati. It doesn't help that the Church can trace its roots far back into a pagan past. The fact that the Vatican is located right in the middle of Rome, which once was one of the great pagan empires, also leads those who view the entire power structure of the Church with suspicion. Author and researcher Patricia Rest says that such suspicion should not be discounted out of hand due to the activities of such church-sponsored groups as the Opus Dei.
Well, the Bible Code is very negative about Opus Dei. The Bible Code says that they're a demonic force, calls it a demonic force. And so, I don't know, I think the people in it think they're being very good Catholics, but apparently that's not really what is happening. So it has kind of a negative connotation. I don't, as far as going around and killing people like in the movie, I think that would be too obvious. In fact, I'll tell you something interesting. I had a boyfriend years ago that lived in England and worked for Scotland Yard. And he told me something kind of interesting. This is long before Princess Diana died or anything. But he said usually if the American CIA wants something done, they'll go to like the French or the MI6 in England. Or if the MI6 wants something done, they'll go to the Americans or the French. Or if the French want something done, they go to the KGB or the British. They all know each other, and all the spooks know each other. But they get somebody different than their own people because then it can't be traced back. See what I'm saying? So a lot of things that happen that you might think somebody's responsible for may actually have been somebody else.
There is little doubt that the Vatican has secrets. Any organization as large and as old as the Church would certainly have things that they would like kept hidden from the rest of the world. The question to ask is, what sort of secrets is the Vatican keeping? The Vatican has its own secret archives, which are as vast as they are old. One expert claims that there are over 52 miles of shelves with the accumulated records of scandals, secrets, and revelations of the most shocking and explosive kind which the Church has accumulated over the centuries. While some of the secret archives are available to selected scholars who must ask in advance for the precise document they wish to see, much of the Vatican's secret documents have never been seen by outsiders. Rumors have circulated for centuries about what deep dark secrets the Vatican is attempting to hide. The most popular theory suggests that Rome is hiding the fact that Jesus did not die on the cross, but survived and lived to sire children whose descendants still live today. Another theory states that Jesus was in fact a fictional character, possibly based on a real Jewish rabbi who was crucified for his actions against Rome, but fictional nevertheless. Others say that the secret archives contain historical documents that show that Mary, the mother of Jesus, was not a virgin, but was a prostitute, and Jesus' actual father was a Roman centurion. There are also rumors that say that there is evidence that Jesus had a twin brother or sister who was the actual Messiah, and that Jesus was simply the front man so that the Messiah could get away safely if trouble were to arise. The Church more than likely contains secret books of the Bible that contains forbidden knowledge that would damage the foundation on which the Church had been built. The idea that people could find God within themselves rather than through the hierarchy of the Church was simply too dangerous to ever be released to the public.
It's the bloodline of France, perhaps, in the Holy Blood, Holy Grail theories, and that Jesus did not die on the cross, but he came to France with Mary Magdalene, his wife. And I think there again, there's so much evidence that indicates that this may have been true, and there is resistance of belief. Now, it's the same with Princess Diana. There are those who believe she was killed. There are those then who will not accept her death. There are those that will not accept that Jesus didn't die on the cross because of belief. We have belief, and then how do we recreate something that happened 2,000 years ago? We have legend and myth, and they all intertwine. They all become one. And as we find out in history, if you happen to be a history buff as I am, the history is so fascinating, but in so few cases do we know the true history because people print the legend. The legend is more colorful. The legend has more elements. The legend touches us in different ways that perhaps the actual historical event wouldn't.
I think that it's beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Vatican has hidden within its secret vaults books and papers that they consider simply too dangerous to be released to the rest of the world. We have some good examples of the type of material that the Vatican probably considers too dangerous. Books such as the Gnostic Gospels, which have come down to us from different sources. This is the type of stuff that the Vatican has got hidden away in its secret archives. They've been meticulous over the years in keeping records. They realize the historical value of such material and are loath to get rid of it, but they're also reluctant to let the rest of the world know that such material exists. This could be damaging to the hierarchy of the Church. The Church probably also has in its secret archives evidence that shows that the Bible has come down to us from various pagan sources that were written centuries before historical biblical times. This could mean that Jesus was a fictional character, and that the original writers of the Gospels were using older pagan sources to put their views across against the Jewish hierarchy and the Roman occupation. It wouldn't do the Church any good to let its members know that Jesus was possibly a fictional character and that his teachings were based on earlier writings that had been around for thousands of years before his time. Until the time comes when the Church makes the secret archives available to any scholar who wants to read them, we'll never know what kind of material they have contained within the walls of the Vatican.
I always told my husband, I said, there are 3 places I'd like to be in the middle of the night without being watched. And one would be the Pentagon.